into the season, so let's get back to this series. My F1 in-season roundup / thoughts series, or whatever it is I was calling it. I think that's a little bit what I was calling it. But let's head chat about what's been happening, what's going on, where I think things are heading. And we'll start off with the sharp end, aka Red Bull, Ferrari, and McLaren now. Red Bull first, of course, Adrian Newey is set to leave the team. That was announced since the last episode of this series. That will wait and see what kind of long-term effect that's going to have on the team and where Newey will go, if he'll even join another team immediately or if he'll take some time out then join another team. Honestly, he can probably do whatever the hell he wants. But, I mean, Red Bull, first of all, they have a huge repair bill on their hands after that race in Monaco. I think what was I heard? It was like 2 to 3 million, I think Horner had said, was like the repair bill for the car, which that's absolutely nuts. That's surely gonna have an impact on their season going forward, like in terms of the budget cap, because repair damage or crash damage, that comes out of the budget cap. So that's gonna affect them later down the line, surely, when it comes to like bringing upgrades or whatever, which they kind of need to be bringing upgrades because they're being caught, but we'll get back to that. Max Verstappen is still doing Max Verstappen things when the car cooperates with the circuit, that is. Imola, I think, had to be his best win of the season so far. And on Max's wins, every race he's not won this year is a race that Leclerc wrote a song about last year. Australia, Miami, Monaco. But Red Bull are still the team to beat. They're the team that everyone's aiming to beat. However, they're not being helped by Checo. 2023 Checo has kind of been making a bit of a return the last couple of races. And he was saying after Imola that, oh, you know, Imola not good for race, not good for Formula. I was like, well, don't qualify 11th then, man. And then Monaco, well, we'll talk about that incident later. I think while Red Bull are still up there as they were in the last episode of this series and as they will be throughout the season, they don't have the advantage anymore. They don't have the cushion that they had last year, or that really they had when at the start of the season even. You know, remember back to round 1 we were like, oh yeah, it's gonna be another Max Verstappen domination season. Will it be? Red Bull are being caught. They cannot afford to be sloppy or making mistakes. And like, yeah, last year Max could have won the Constructors on his own, but I don't know if he can do that this year. Red Bull are going to need Checo at their best because that team is being caught. Firstly by Ferrari. And I'm going to be honest, as I'm recording this video, it has been 2 days since the Monaco Grand Prix. I am still not over that win. I still cannot believe it actually happened. Like, I, like many other people, was so bloody happy when he crossed the line to take that win in Monaco. I'm going to talk a lot more about Leclerc's win in Monaco in another video because it's my channel and I want to, but he finally won the Monaco Grand Prix. Ferrari got a second win this season. Honestly, amazing weekend by him in Monaco. Sainz as well, he kind of, first of all, luckiest driver on the damn grid. I swear to God, that man must be a cat or something like that, because he clearly has 9 lives. He used 2 of them in Monaco, I think. But he kind of repaid the favour from Singapore. Last year, he came what I mean. He was getting out of it in that wingman role, he was really trying to prevent Norris from being able to have a free stop, and he did that brilliantly. But small stat, of course, Leclerc's win from pole in Monaco is Ferrari's first win from pole in Monaco since 1979. Not a single driver on the 2024 grid was alive then. Neither was I, of course, but that goes without saying given the fact I'm 23. Also, what a start for Brian as Charles' race engineer. Race 1 in Imola, podium, P3 finish. Race 2 in Monaco, win from pole position. What a beginning! But no, Ferrari have been doing amazingly. They brought upgrades in Imola that worked, it seems like, which is good for them. They've been consistently there. I mean, Leclerc's been in the top 4 in every race so far, and Sainz has been in the top 5 in every race he's done so far. That, of course, doesn't include Saudi Arabia, where he wasn't racing, and Behrman finished 7th there. Ferrari are consistently there, and that's really going to aid them in the Constructors' Championship. Again, more on that in a few minutes there. I believe that the points they're on right now in the Constructors is the most Ferrari have ever scored in the first 8 races in the Constructors' Championship. Well, since 2010 at least. So, and that's absolutely brilliant for them. Also, I really do see Ferrari keeping up this consistency and bringing the challenge more to Red Bull. As I said, we may not have the boring season we thought it was gonna be. Or is it Ferrari have also welcomed the news. Title sponsor in HP since the last episode. They had a blue livery and, well, partly blue livery in Miami, which I didn't mind it all that much, I'm gonna be honest, but that rear wing is a major downgrade, I'm gonna be honest. And finally on Ferrari, Happy birthday to Fred Vasseur for yesterday, or today, when I'm recording this. You, my friend, are a legend. And as we transition into McLaren, we cannot speak about Ferrari and McLaren without just giving mention to the shithousery that went on Twitter between Oscar and Charles. Oh my god. It all started from Oscar, just like, oh, checking my family through the tree to see if I have any Monegascars, and Charles just comes on like, I can adopt you if needed. Oscar takes him up on the offer and everyone runs with it. It was spectacular. I love that everyone just ran with it. That was brilliant. Absolutely phenomenal. But yeah, maybe Oscar should just claim every race as his home race. It's been working out pretty nice for him, you know? He was on the podium in Monaco, as we've really been seeing the best. We've been seeing more of Oscar, and seeing better of Oscar. The last few races, he was really good in Imola as well. He didn't get a podium, didn't quite work out there. Miami as well, he was really strong there in the race. He got brilliant start, and then he was overtaking Ferraris at the beginning. He was really strong. We're seeing more of what he can do, and he's kind of coming more into his own and bringing the challenge more to Norris, who was the slower of the McLaren drivers in Monaco. Of course, Norris finally got that race win. Huge congratulations to Lando Norris on that win in Miami. He's had it coming for a while, you know. Norris was going to get that win eventually, and he did. Did he get lucky with the safety car timing? Yes. And the fact that Max had damage, also yes. But regardless, he still had to do the job and, you know, put the lap times in after the safety car to stay ahead of Max. And he did, and he won the race. So massive congratulations to Lando on that one. Surely he will be winning more races soon. But he's got the first one out the way, and that's always the main thing. You know, get the first one out the way. But McLaren have taken a big step forward since the start of the season. Because, I mean, in the last episode of this series, then I had them in the upper midfield pack. But now they've transitioned, they've progressed upwards to the sharp end, because they are up there. In the sharp end of the field, they're bringing the challenge to Ferrari and Red Bull. I almost said Mercedes. They're up there, and they're going to be up there for the rest of the season. Because they were up there in China before they even brought upgrade. And they were up there in Miami, they were up there in Imola, that's the race I was thinking of, and they've been up there in Monaco as well, where Red Bull kind of fell off because their car didn't like the track. We could be in for a really good chat with good scrap at the front the rest of this season, honestly, because these teams, Red Bull, Ferrari, McLaren, they're all kind of converging together. It's going to be great, which is a nice transition into speaking about the championship, because look, Drivers' Championship, it's in a pretty bit of a strange place at the moment, in my opinion. The gap is 31 points between Max in P1 and Charles in P2. It's not a small gap by any means. I mean, it's over a race win, but it's catchable. It's a very catchable gap, especially with 16 races left in this season. But look, I don't want to get too far ahead of myself, but I also don't want to be too far ahead of myself either, if you get what I mean. Like, I don't want to say at this point definitely say, oh yeah, we have a fight in the drivers, and I also don't want to say, oh no, we definitely don't know. So it's just kind of in a weird place, but I think it's in the Drivers' Championship, in my opinion. Getting a fight there entirely depends on how things go between now and the summer break, in terms of like Charles scoring points against Max. And also in terms of the Ferrari's next upgrade package, which I believe they're bringing in Silverstone. Do not quote me on that though. Of course, Norris could easily get himself involved as well, but Leclerc is closest, so we're kind of just talking about him challenging Max at the moment. It's in a way, we have potential, but it entirely depends how things go across the next, 5-6 races I think are left before the summer break. It entirely depends on that. In the Constructors, however, freaking game on. Game on in the Constructors' Championship. Ferrari are only 24 points behind Red Bull. McLaren are further 68 points behind Ferrari. It's game on. As I said, Red Bull need Checo to be delivering. They need Checo to perform if they want to win the Constructors' Championship. Because Ferrari have been consistently in the top 5 in every race. They've been both cars in the top 5 in every race except Saudi Arabia, where, as I said, Behrman was finishing 7th. McLaren are improving. They're going to be getting themselves involved, I'm sure. We're in for a scrap in the Constructors, and I cannot wait. But away from the sharp end, we hit the upper mid pack, which is Mercedes and... well, Mercedes, because I said McLaren have progressed upwards, and then Aston Martin, well, we'll get on to them. But look, I'm going to be honest, my expectations for Mercedes at the start of the year were way too high, I'm gonna be honest. I genuinely thought Mercedes would be better than they turned out to be. But they're the 4th fastest team. They have brought upgrades. They brought upgrades around Miami, Imola kind of time. And those upgrades, I think they have helped them. They were a little better in Monaco. Props to Russell, by the way. 77 laps on the mediums. And unlike Hamilton in 2019 when he did 67 laps on the mediums, Russell did it without complaining. Look, Mercedes, they're just on their own. I think they're gonna have a bit of a lonely season, to be honest, because they're the 4th fastest team. I think they're pretty much guaranteed to finish 4th in this championship, unless Aston Martin get a wriggle on, but I don't see that happening. Or unless Mercedes actually find some momentum and go to challenge McLaren, which, again, I don't really see that happening. And then, finally, on Mercedes, I don't really have too much thoughts on Mercedes, because they're kind of just there, you know, on their own, really, now, in terms of the championship positions, really. I mean, they've been finishing around that 5, 6, 7 kind of places most of the races, and finishing in those kind of places, that doesn't really win you, you know, the big prizes of 1st, 2nd, 3rd in the Constructors' Championship, and then with the other teams behind them, you know, kind of scrapping around about them and not being as consistently there in the 5, 6, 7, 8 kind of place, kind of leaves Mercedes on their own, as the rift between Hamilton and the team, it's starting to become pretty clear. But the thing is, it's got me thinking, in Monaco, they pitted Hamilton later in the race. Then they said outlap normal, but they surely would have known they pit Hamilton to try and get him like ahead of Verstappen. Verstappen was gonna respond. Surely they would have thought that. So why didn't they say outlap critical? Why didn't they tell him, oh, there's a chance Verstappen might pit outlap critical? Why didn't they say that? They could have gained a place. I don't know, but Mercedes and Hamilton, it's gonna get worse, honestly, between them. I feel like it's not gonna be nice between them toward the rest of the season, which is unfortunate, given it's been such a long relationship between them. I mean, what, 2013 they joined up, it's now 2024. Things are just gonna keep on going south for them throughout this season. But now on to the rest of the grid. First of all, Aston Martin, who have been demoted from the upper mid-pack to the rest of the grid section, because they have been not great. They did bring upgrades, but they haven't helped. They've gone backwards. They're quite frankly in danger of being caught by VCARB in the World Constructors' Championship if they're not careful. It's only a 20-point gap, and Alonso has committed to the team into the new regulations. It's like a 2-year deal or something like that. I don't know, but is he going to be regretting that decision now, I'm wondering. But on to VCARB, or as James Vowles called them, Visa Cash App, buy one, get one free, or as I saw someone call them on TikTok, and this is what I'm going to call them from now on, sugar-free Red Bull. But meanwhile at sugar-free Red Bull, they're doing amazing. Honestly, they are doing really, really good. They have a serious chance for 5th place in the championship because Tsunoda has been absolutely amazing. And with the way he's going, I'll be surprised if he doesn't finish in the top 10 of the driver's standings. But I want to speak about Tsunoda in a different video. And Ricciardo, he has also been improving. China was a step forward, of course, until Lance Stroll forgot where his brakes were. Miami Sprint was a big step forward. Like, I can still see him losing his seat. With that being said, at the end of the year, but I can also see him managing to keep it if he can keep that improvement up. Monaco wasn't much to write home about for him, but if he can put in more races like, you know, like China before things went wrong, or the Miami Sprint race, then he could keep his seat. But I think sugar-free Red Bull, if they don't catch Aston for 5th, then I think they're guaranteed for 6th, because the teams behind them, Haas, they are still doing decent, you know, with how the teams ahead have been doing. They're kind of being left on their own right now. They're kind of, well, not really in it for 6th place anymore, but they are still on for 7th, which is where they are at the moment. But they're going to have challenges from Williams and Alpine, I think. Alpine, who finally have points on the board. They've finally, both drivers have scored a point. They are getting better, but they're not being helped by, you know, the Lap 1 Monaco antics, but like, they still scored a point regardless. But all comes a topic for another day, honestly. And Williams also have points. They scored points in Monaco. They're in that, like Alpine, they're getting there. However, Logan Sargent, I kind of feel for him. You know, apparently because of the lack of parts or something, he had to race with a 2023 spec wing in Monaco instead of the 2024 spec wing. Like, they're not helping Logan in trying to keep his seat. Like, Logan is probably going to lose his seat at the end of the year. And has he been doing great? No. But there's a lot of it this year that isn't really his fault. I'm gonna be honest. He was shafted in Australia when he got shafted out out of his car and given the repaired chassis in Japan, which he then crashed, and then it's just not been great for him, honestly. And of course, driving with a last year spec wing in Monaco, they're not helping him, to be honest, but at least they're doing better than Sauber, who I don't script these videos. This series, I don't script it. Instead, I write bullet points for each team. Half-scripted bullet point section, and I'm gonna tell you exactly the 3 bullet points I have written down for Sauber. They're very small bullet points. This is exactly what I wrote down. They're still shit. I hardly notice them. This is the most anonymous team on the grid. We'll be surprised if they don't finish last. That is all I wrote down for Sauber, because it's true. They're rubbish. You know, they're there to muck up the numbers, really, in my opinion. They're probably gonna finish last, but they probably don't care because they're looking forward to 2026 in Audi. But on championship positions, let's have a run through how things are currently standing 8 rounds into the Formula 1 World Championship of 2024. First of all, in the Drivers' Championship. Max Verstappen is still leading the way in the Drivers' Championship, as he has been since the 2022 Spanish Grand Prix, on 169 points. But he's got Charles Leclerc behind him now in second place on 138 points. Only 31 points between those two. Go back a further 25 or so points and you'll find Lando Norris in third place on 113 points, and he's a 5-point lead over his former teammate Carlos Sainz in fourth place on 108 points, who is ahead of Sergio Perez, who's fallen back to 5th place. He is 1 point back on 107 points. 6th place is where you're going to find Oscar Piastri on 71 points. And meanwhile, George Russell is the highest placed Mercedes driver still in the standings on 54 points. He is an 8-point gap back to his teammate Lewis Hamilton in 8th place on 42 points, while Fernando Alonso is in 9th place on 33 points, and Yuki Tsunoda has leapt upwards into the top 10 on 19 points. Lance Stroll is the first driver outside the top 10 on 11 points, while Oliver Behrman and Nico Hülkenberg tie on 6 points, but Behrman is ahead on countback of he has a higher place finish right now. Daniel Ricciardo is in 14th place on 5 points, while as Alexander Albon on 2 points in 15th place, and then you have Esteban Ocon, Kevin Magnussen, and Pierre Gasly all sitting on 1 point in 16th, 17th, and 18th respectively, while the 2 Sauber boys of Joe Guan Yu and Valtteri Bottas and Logan Sargent Williams are still yet to get off the ground. And now the Constructors' Championship. Red Bull do still lead the way on 276 points, but Ferrari are closing. They are in second place on 252 points, only 24 points between them. Game on. McLaren are currently in 3rd place on 184 points, and they're the last team to be in the triple digits because Mercedes are in 4th place on 96 points. Aston Martin currently round out the top 5 on 44 points, while the sugar-free Red Bull team are on 24 points in 6th place. Haas are on 7 points in 7th place, while Williams and Alpine are both on 2 points in 8th and 9th. Williams ahead on countback of having a higher place finish, and then Sauber are yet to get off the ground. And that does it for this episode of F1, of my in F1 season thoughts / roundup series, whatever I'm calling it. You'd think I'd have the name down by now, but I do not. The next episode of this, probably sometime in July. I'm not entirely sure. 6 races until the summer break. Then I might do one. I think I might do one after Silverstone. So possibly after round 12 for the next one of these. So keep your eye out. But for now, I'm going to leave this here. So let me get your thoughts down in the comments below. Drop a like if you enjoyed the video. Subscribe if you're new around here. Thank you all so much for watching, and I will see you in the next one. Bye-bye.